This is the thought thunderstorm, one of my favorite topics. And one quick thought when I woke up this morning is I just asked myself, and therefore you, the question, what matters most to you? When you really look at it, what actually matters most to you? I spent most of my life doing things that would enable me to actually live my life around what matters most. But then what I figured out the hard way, and we like to figure things out the hard way, is that I needed to put the things that matter most first, once again, to become the person that is happy and whole, which gave me the ability to do the things that I needed to do. So what matters to you? And the question is, check yourself. Are you placing that or those things that matter to you most in front of the things that matter less? Check that today. Check yourself and check and just do a little systems check and say, am I putting the things that matter most in front of the things that matter less? If not, right? If you're putting work in front of like having time with your kids like I used to, it's going to bite you in the ass one day. And it's illogical and irrational. All right, so let's do the thought thunderstorm. So much discussion on this show, obviously, in all these rise ups is about the brain's miraculous, follow this, the brain's miraculous capacity, you have one of those, to process approximately 70,000 thoughts a day using 100 billion neurons that connect at more than 500 trillion points. This is all happening in your brain through the synapses that travel 300 miles per hour. Yep. That's what I call the thunderstorm of activity. That's what the thought thunderstorm refers to. And it's going on in what I refer to as that wet piece of meat that's encased in your skull. That's what's going on in your brain. And here you are trying to like collect your thoughts, right? Impossible task. Did you know, by the way, this is an interesting fact. If you look at the anatomy and nervous system of the human body, in its divine creation. Did you know that the brain and the spinal cord, interestingly enough, are the only two things in the entire human body that are completely protected in bone armor, as you can say? Interesting to just recognize how important, for those of you that are into brain health and spinal health, one thing you should recognize is that for whatever reason, it's in your divine creation, they're the only things completely protected in bone. So might be worth taking care of, right? So what's even more interesting is to ask yourself the question of where are these thoughts that we're referring to coming from? Where do thoughts come from? The rationale is that they come from your brain, but where? Where exactly? Where do they come from and why are they occurring? So this is the first observation. Our brains carry a sort of default mode processor and hard drive, much like a computer, that stores thoughts and memories, as well as thoughts and memories about thoughts and memories. All these things are filed away and stored. See, we never actually forget about things that occur. Whenever you feel like, it's at the tip of my tongue, I forget. You haven't forgotten it. You just forgot how to access it. Like it's in a file cabinet in a folder, and that's what you're forgetting is how to access it. But it's in there. That's the observation. It's in there. Or even things that didn't occur in your life. Here's another thing that we store. Things that didn't occur, but we thought they did occur, right? Or maybe even we thought they could occur. All those things are in your brain as well. They never go away. You have an unlimited capacity of storage in your brain. So you may not remember the actual events and happening as they actually happened, but some sort of file folder or footprint and symptom of it is being processed as if your brain is like a supercomputer. I want you to look at your brain as a supercomputer that's constantly trying, by the way. What's interesting about this supercomputer is when we store things in it, remember, your brain is constantly trying to make sense of things and run calculations in different scenarios of everything. That's that sense-making machine in your brain. So can you imagine how we have this thought thunderstorm? I talked the other day about how sometimes our mind is racing. We have trouble sleeping or waking up. So embracing this fact, that we never really stop thinking That's what thoughts are. It's like thinking. Remember, I've shared with you in Buddhism to separate yourself and just recognize that, thinking is thinking. It doesn't have to be your reality. We never really stop thinking. It's crucial to recognize that, separate yourself from it, because it allows you to accept that this thunderstorm of subconscious activity, you know, is out of your control, right? You don't control it. You can't control whether or not your brain is having a thunderstorm of activity. It's what it does. Um, Here's an analogy. If you look at the sun and the moon, perhaps, whether or not you see them rise or disappear, they do, right? So you've gone a day before, my guess, you've gone a day before, or many days without, thinking about the sun or the moon, right? I was writing here, perhaps, you stayed inside and never took note of them. A lot of people stay inside and they don't see the sun and the moon. They don't always think about the sun and the moon. However, they're still rising and falling, right? Well, you can do this with your thought thunderstorm as well. See, here's the perception. It's like you know that they're happening, but you don't have to perceive them. So you can do that with your thoughts as well. Embracing that it's taking place anyway, then consciously deciding that your thoughts don't need to have a say in your reality are the steps towards experiencing a present moment state of indistractable calm, unfuckwithable calm, where you can enjoy a few judgment-free conscious glimpses at a new reality. And that new reality is the one that's actually taking place. You see, our reality is very much skewed by the level or degree of involvement that our thoughts and feelings have. Because remember, when you're perceiving something, your perceiving machine, can be very, very much skewed by your brain and your thoughts and your feelings and emotions that arise and things like that. So very, very, very key. So, or, we can catch a glimpse of actual reality, or at least close to it or closer to it. So you can and will always sense the thought thunderstorm, just like the sun and the moon in the distance. I don't know if you've ever did this, and I don't know how much fact there is in it, but when we were kids, we would see the lightning bolt. And then what we were taught is if you count how long it takes before you hear the thunder, the sound of it, that would depict in seconds, it would depict how many miles it was away. So there's a good example of seeing something, but perceiving that it's happening elsewhere, right? You could even measure how far away it is apart it is. But it has nothing to do with you, right? You're separating yourself from it. So if you do this with your thoughts via something like cognitive distancing, you're basically distancing yourself from something that's happening, this thought thunderstorm. So much value in that. It's separating it from yourself is how you deter it from being a shot caller in your life. Separating yourself as if it's happening in the distance. Recognize that it's not raining where you stand while your thought thunderstorm is happening. It's not raining where you stand. And then just continue exploring and observing your day, open to the unlimited possibilities of greatness, growth, potential, right? That's what this is all about. Make sense? I sure hope it does. I love and appreciate you. This is our new series. We've got a lot of fun stuff happening. You'll see that every now and then we have interviews coming up as well, like we did the other day. Great morning to everybody that's saying, I just saw Beauty Yai page on Instagram. We don't save them on Instagram, so come on over to our Rise Up with Dragon Facebook community. Go to riseupwithdragon.com. We've got a great newsletter that comes out every week. Dragon's Lair, One from the Vault. And 2023 is going to be an amazing year. And my hope is that you use this as a check-in for you to make sense of things and create a focus, win the morning and win the day. Love and appreciate you all. Have an amazing day.